They say you never truly know someone until life throws you into their darkest moments. I thought I knew Sarah, my wife of 10 years. We had built a life together, a house, kids, everything I ever imagined, or so I thought. But last Tuesday changed everything. Everything I believed, everything I trusted, it all came crashing down in the most unexpected way. It started with small things, the usual little signs that no one really notices at first. A text she quickly hid when I walked in. A late night call she brushed off a laugh. A sudden need for space or alone time. I wanted to ignore it first. Maybe I was overreacting. But my gut has always been honest, more honest than I wanted to admit. And my gut was screaming. Sarah had always been charming, almost magnetic. But in the past months, she had grown distant, distracted, almost cold in ways I couldn't explain. She laughed less at my jokes. She avoided eye contact during conversations. And one night, I caught a message from a number I didn't recognize. Just a name, Jason. Nothing incriminating at first glance, just casual banter. But the way she quickly deleted it, that told me everything I needed to know. I waited, hoping I was wrong, hoping that maybe this was nothing, that I was imagining things. But hope doesn't last long when betrayal is in the air. That weekend, she went out with friends. Something about the way she kissed me goodbye, half-hearted, distracted, made my blood run cold. I didn't know it yet, but that night would mark the beginning of the end for everything we had. Monday came, and I decided I couldn't just sit there anymore. I had to know. I hired a private investigator, the kind I never imagined I would. I told him nothing except to watch, to follow, and to report anything unusual. I was calm on the outside, but inside, I was storming. My mind raced with worst-case scenarios. I imagined them together, laughing, touching, sharing moments that were mine by right. And then, I saw the first confirmation. A photo sent by the investigator, blurred in the background, but enough to see Sarah's hair, her jacket, the unmistakable closeness to another man. It wasn't just a man she was cheating with. It was Jason, a co-worker, a friend we both knew. My heart sank, my chest tightened, and for a moment, I didn't know what to do. Anger surged, a boiling rage I had never felt before. But I forced myself to think, to plan, to act. This wasn't going to be some messy argument at a restaurant, some pleading confrontation. No, this was going to be calculated, epic. The next day, I followed the investigator's updates obsessively. Sarah met Jason at our old basement, the one we used to call our game room, the one that had been converted into a man cave for me. My stomach churned as I read the details. Laughter, drinks, the intimate closeness that I had once shared with her. The betrayal was palpable through the words of the man I trusted to watch. I couldn't watch her destroy everything silently. Not anymore. And that's when I began planning. I knew the layout of the basement better than anyone. Every shelf, every corner, every crack in the floorboards. I would use that to my advantage. I didn't want to hurt her, not physically. Her pain was going to be her own conscience. But Jason, he was going to understand consequences in a way words couldn't deliver. Tuesday evening came. Sarah was running late. Typical. She thought the night would go unnoticed. I had already rigged a few things in the basement earlier that day under the guise of cleaning and organizing. Nothing illegal, nothing detectable, just clever enough to make the night unforgettable. I watched from the top of the stairs, listening. The faint sounds of laughter, the clinking of glasses, the casual conversation. Jason didn't know what was coming, and I stayed silent, calm, collected. When she walked down into the basement, he followed with that confident grin, thinking he was in on a private secret. They didn't see me at first. The shadows hid me perfectly. I waited until he was fully engrossed, until the moment felt right, and then I stepped forward. "Jason," I said, my voice low, steady, carrying through the basement like a warning. He froze, turned. His confident grin faltered, replaced by confusion, then fear as he recognized me. Sarah turned too, and her eyes widened, not at me, but at the sudden shift, the awareness of what she had done, of what she had dragged into our home. I didn't yell. I didn't attack. I just stood there, letting the silence grow heavier with every second. And then I spoke again, calmly, explaining every little detail I had uncovered. The texts, the meetings, the lies. I described the betrayal with cold precision, letting the words sink in. Jason's eyes widened further, sweat forming on his brow. But the revenge wasn't in words. That was just a setup. I had prepared something more memorable. The basement had been rigged so that any attempt at moving carelessly, at escaping, at laughing it off, would meet subtle but humiliating consequences. Jason tried to step forward, to argue, to deny, but every movement brought minor shocks to his pride. Spilled drinks, slipping on strategically placed mats, the sound of loud alarms that I had hidden in corners. Each mishap was harmless physically, but psychologically, the message was clear. Nothing in my house, nothing in my life, would tolerate betrayal. Sarah tried to intervene, her voice trembling, but I ignored her. This wasn't about her emotions anymore. It was about showing Jason that betrayal carries weight and that I would not be a passive victim. By the end of the night, Jason was humiliated, cornered, and utterly aware of the consequences. Sarah stood silent, shocked at what she had brought into our home, realizing for the first time that her actions had ripple effects far beyond her immediate desires. As the night ended, I let them leave, not freely, but with a message embedded, permanent, unforgettable. And then I sat down in the quiet basement, alone, reflecting. It wasn't joy I felt, not revenge in its classic sense. It was relief. Relief that I had reclaimed control, reclaimed dignity, reclaimed some piece of the life that had been stolen without my consent. Sarah would face me eventually, but that would be a conversation for another day. Tonight was about clarity, about truth, about consequences, about showing that betrayal, no matter how cleverly hidden, always has a price. And sometimes the price is watching the one you think is untouchable fall, if only for a moment, into the reality of their actions,